successful brand needs a good face. I don't connect with car insurance. Oh, but that little gecko's so funny.
Oh, it's my mum's secret recipe.
You can tell me.
It's a secret.
Is it cinnamon?
It's my mum's secret recipe.
I don't connect with Lincoln cars, but all right. For people like us who love the NBA, we don't really need a face for basketball, but for the game to grow and appeal to people like, I don't know, my mom or my friends who don't really like hoops, the NBA needs a face. LeBron James has been such a good face of the league too. I'd rank him just below Michael Jordan as the second best ever. I'll defend that later in the video, but we want to know who is next. First, we have to look at the past to figure out which young player has face of the league potential. Casey Kiernan here, host of the AM Hoops YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, hit notify, coming out with 5 quality videos every single day of the week. But all week, we are highlighting a different charity during this crazy time in the world. And today's charity is called Direct Relief. In the US, they're delivering protective masks people are in desperate need of in the medical community. Also exam gloves, isolation gowns. They're a top-rated charity too, so you know your money's going to a good place. directrelief.org. What does it take to be the face of the NBA? Really the face of anything. Let's talk NBA though. First, you have to be really good at basketball, like really good, championship level good. And second, you have to be really good on camera, charismatic, marketable. So let's look at the different faces of the NBA by era. It all started with George Mikan in the 1940s, then Wilt Chamberlain in the late 50s and 1960s. You gotta mention Bill Russell, right? No, not really. He wasn't the face in the 60s. Yeah, no one had more rings than Russell, but people cared what Wilt did on and off the court. Remember, this is mostly about the casual fans. Jerry West was also not quite face of the league. I mean, look, he's the logo. He was always in the finals, but not exactly a warm character. The 1970s had really weak faces. No one grabbed that spotlight. Kareem had all of the talent, but none of the charisma. You could almost argue he hated people. Dr. J had plenty of charisma. Dude was definitely marketable. He was in movies, but he only won one NBA title, and that was in the early 80s, past his prime. It was actually a pretty dark time for the NBA. Weak faces meant an unpopular game. I mean, in the mid-70s, the average player made around $65,000 per year. Even for inflation, that is a fraction of today. Today's average player, $7.7 million bucks, and we have like over twice the players. Back then, finals games weren't even on live TV. There was a big drug scandal. It was bad. What saved the league? An all-time face. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird entered the league in 1979. I count Magic as the face at that time because he had the whole package, a $1 million smile and a $25 million game. And don't get me wrong, Larry Bird had all the talent in the world. He had championships, he was in the finals on our TVs. But when your nickname is the Hick from French Lick and the other guy's named Magic, he might have something that you don't. Eventually, Magic turned the title of Face of the League over to Michael Jordan and everything changed. The NBA capitalized on what it has over every sport. Individuals. In baseball, how often do we see Mike Trout on our TVs? He plays center field on defense. He's only up to bat 3 or 4 times per game. In football, quarterbacks are the stars, on the field half the time and under a helmet. Before the 90s, it was, those great Laker teams or that Celtics squad. Then it became Michael Jordan's Bulls. The individual became a brand himself. You could argue MJ was bigger than basketball. You can thank his agent David Falk for a lot of that, and David Stern too. MJ's popularity skyrocketed, and so did the NBA's. Michael turned it over to Shaq, who then turned it over to Kobe, and now LeBron James. And maybe Magic is the better face than LeBron pound for pound, but I think LeBron James is second behind Michael because he's had a bigger impact. He's seen the game through the age of social media and on a global scale. His talent had him in the finals for 8 straight years. Magic couldn't say that. Eventually though, LeBron will retire, and right now is a really important time to ask who the next face is gonna be. Ratings have dipped. This indefinite suspension is hurting the popularity and revenue of the league. People close to LeBron say they could see him playing until he's 40 years old. This could be like a Tom Brady situation. They say he wants to compete with or against his son Bronny. That gives the NBA 5 more seasons with an elite face of the league. After that, here's our candidates. First, Giannis Antetokounmpo. The talent in all these candidates is obvious, but Giannis is entering his prime. He'll be back-to-back MVP if they give it out this year. He may, though, have to leave Milwaukee to win championships, which is mandatory for face of the NBA. Personality-wise, Giannis is starting to come out of his shell. He came into the league, 18 years old, shy, developing kid. He's now full-grown and willing to tell a joke on national TV.
You don't want the dribbler?
I want somebody that's gonna pass the ball. That's what I want.
There are 2 things, though, I think that work against Giannis here. Number 1 is his age. He's already 25 years old, meaning when LeBron retires, if that's at 40, Giannis will be 30 years old. Maybe he'd be the face for 3 or 4 more years. LeBron's reign was 10 plus years, so was Michael's and Magic's. And the other issue is we've never had an international face of the league. We've had players be the face for their country, like Yao Ming, Dirk Nowitzki, but a non-American as the global face for the NBA? If it happens, it'll be groundbreaking, and maybe Giannis is the guy for the job. Next up, Luka Doncic, another international player with all the talent in the world. Any individual award out there, you could see Luka getting. Rookie of the Year, check. MVP, not far away, but what about championships? Free agents haven't exactly flocked to Dallas, but maybe people will want to play with a prime Luka Doncic, who not only scores, but sets up his teammates similar to LeBron. Luka is 21 years old, meaning he'd be 26 if LeBron retires at 40. That's a perfect time to come face of the NBA. But there is that other question to answer. Does Luka have the charisma to be the face of the NBA on a global scale? I would argue no. I just don't see it, but he still has time to grow into it. Then there's the obvious heir to King James's throne as face of the NBA, Zion Williamson. Dude has it all. Not just a winning game, but an exciting brand of basketball. Not just the personality, but that smile. But there are 2 things that could hold Zion back. The first is winning championships in New Orleans. Anthony Davis couldn't do it, and no one is above needing rings to be the face. I don't care how magnetic Zion is, if he is not on our TVs in playoff time, he cannot overcome that. And the second is health. If you had to put serious money on who's going to be the face of the NBA in 10 years, are you sure that Zion is going to be healthy? I'm not. And our final one is a wild card, and that's Bronny James. Why not? He has to be on this list. How crazy would it be for the face of the NBA to pass the torch to his own son? Bronny will have a head start on everyone, by the way, because A, he's LeBron's son, and B, he's already on TV and on our phones. Bronny's got the talent to be one of the best high school players in the world, but that doesn't always translate to NBA stardom. Ask Brandon Knight, OJ Mayo. We don't know if he's got the personality either for the spotlight, but we do know that advertisers and fans will be waiting and wanting Bronny to take that title. So if those are our candidates for face of the league when LeBron retires, the best case scenario for the health of the NBA is Zion Williamson staying healthy and becoming the face, and at the same time forming a Magic Bird rivalry with Luka Doncic. That would be huge. If those 2 battled in the playoffs for a decade, the sport would thrive, not just domestically, but globally. Even if ratings are dipping and this actually becomes a serious trend, the international boost from Luka winning titles would be gigantic. In this case, Luka would be a superstar, but not the face. And we need those too. Every LeBron James has had a Kevin Durant or a Stephen Curry. Kobe had Tracy McGrady, Dirk Nowitzki, Steve Nash, Chris Paul, Allen Iverson. MJ had Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson. Magic, of course, had Bird, also had Moses Malone, and so on. The worst case scenario is if Zion did get hurt and there's no clear face for the NBA. We do not want another dark time for the sport. Now, the coolest part about this is there could be some kid out there, maybe watching this video, who comes into the league. We don't even know about him now, but he takes over as a rookie like Magic did in 79-80. Until then, King James will continue to reign, maybe till he's 40, and we'll wait to see who's next. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.